In Oshi No Ko, there are a number of rising actresses in the acting industry, such as Akane, Kana, Frill, and more. However, there's only one person that's said to be the greatest actress in Japan, and that person is Yura Katayose. For a character with that title, you'd think she'd have an important role to play in the story, and well, she kinda does, just not in the way that you would expect. Instead, her fate is a precursor for what may soon happen to one of the rising stars of the next generation of actresses. To narrow down the possibilities, I'll start by explaining the character of Yura, just like the manga was able to establish in one chapter alone. One of the first mentions of Yura is when Kaburagi himself speaks with her manager and requests a spot in her schedule for next spring. He promises that Yura will be the lead actor, which is enough to convince the manager to agree. We then first get introduced to Yura herself at a bar, drinking away her frustrations. Beside Yura is a certain man, a supposed friend of hers, who worries about her fans seeing her like this, the country's greatest actress, drinking at a bar like this. Surely, there'd be quite the reaction. We can see an example of Yura's popularity as she's on magazine covers and billboard advertisements across the country. However, the reason she's frustrated is because her manager gave her a job offer for a movie, but they haven't even come up with a role for her. She'd understand if it was a script for the movie and they told her to do a certain role, but in the end, it just feels like she's being used for her popularity. Her friend doesn't believe that and actually says he didn't expect her to grow this much as an actress, which means he has been watching her for some time. This is confirmed when she calls him Miki-san and says he's the best drinking buddy ever. She then goes on to talk about how every time Kaburagi is involved, the work is always based on something where the lead actors are young. Since Yura is 25, she doesn't think she could wear a school uniform and that he should have just gone ahead and hired a real high school girl like Frill. However, there's another girl that's been trending lately, Ruby Hoshino. There's a focus specifically on Miki when Yura mentions Ruby, but he just says that Ruby piques his interest too. Yura is certain that Ruby is going through plenty of offers at the moment, due to the demand for good-looking people. She was doing the same when she was around 20. Unfortunately, Yura is sure that they want to use young actors, but they choose her since there aren't many others with name recognition. That's fine with her though. She just won't be there to attract customers, but instead, be better at acting to sell more. By this point, they were walking outside at night. As Yura says, she wants to appear in many great movies and star in a masterpiece that will be talked about even a century later. I like how we also see Yura reaching towards the stars in the night sky before turning around to reveal she also has the Staringan. The visual of that is pretty amazing, as Yura asks if Miki thinks she can do it. Can she be immortalized forever in the hearts of others? And right here, look at his response. Miki says her talents are the real deal and deserves to be immortalized in some way. That may seem like he's just complimenting her, but it's more than that once you see what happens. Yura will surely be immortalized, just not in the way she's expecting. Of course, Yura is happy to hear the faith Miki has in her, and reveals that she's gonna take a month break to refresh after her latest job. And you know what Yura wants to do? Mountain climbing. She's been addicted to it recently, but Miki seems a bit concerned. He even asks if she's going by herself, which Yura confirms. Miki then gives this awkward smile and says he loves mountains too. However, he also has a warning to be careful. After all, if something were to happen when she's in the mountains, there is a chance nobody would be able to find her. On the surface level, this warning makes sense, since it probably isn't a good idea for a famous person such as herself to go into the mountains all alone. Yet, I feel at this point, this guy is starting to seem sus. Like, I'm sure by now, some of you felt something was off with Miki. He also tells Yura to watch her step right after. Yura should have listened, cause the next time we see her is in the mountains dying, and the one standing above her is none other than Miki, asking if she's alive with a smile. It's clear that this guy caused her to fall. He did warn Yura to watch her step though, and now look at what happened. Although I'm sure we all know he's the one who pushed her down. He even admits it's his fault as he reaches for his hair bun to undo it. Miki says because of him, an actress so talented, loved by everyone, and worth every single penny, loses her life, with his hair undone and his disguise gone. Yura can see that she was tricked. Her last words are murderer, and with that, another bright star goes dark and fades away. The man behind it is none other than Hikaru Kamiki, the Star Killer, and the father of Aqua and Ruby. With Yura dead and gone, Hikaru seems to reflect on taking her life, and the last thing we see him say is that he can feel the weight of his life now. In the end, Yura was indeed immortalized, but it would be through her death. Just like Ai. Both of them were perhaps the brightest stars of their times, yet Ai's tragic death is how her legacy is remembered. A tragedy immortalized into the hearts of all her fans. Perhaps the same can be said when Yura is found out to be dead. Maybe there's more too. There are probably other victims of Hikaru who we haven't seen yet, and they probably all have something to do in common. Most likely popular female stars. I say this because the same descriptors Hikaru used to describe Yura can fit Ai. Both girls were talented, loved by many, and worth everything they were paid. Well, now we have to think of what other girls we know match that description. For starters, there's Akane, who has already been targeted by Hikaru. She has won a new actor award and has a number of performances under her belt. Plus, she is also a part of the same theater company Hikaru was once in with Ai, which gives her another direct connection. Of course, having Akane get targeted again could be overdoing it. However, I think her battle to stop Aqua does put her in an interesting spot, and back in the mix. Akane could end up being caught in the middle, and with star eyes just like Ai, Hikaru could want to finish the job. Next is probably a bit of a surprise, but I think Frill could be a target too. Besides Ruby, Frill is the other girl Yura mentioned, almost solidifying her place as the best high school actress. That statement can be backed up, since we know she has been part of many projects, and is arguably the most famous actress her age. Even Akane is certain Frill can get the lead actress role over her, without having to do the competition they did for the movie. At this rate, Frill will most likely end up being the next Yura first, in terms of career, with Akane not far behind. That makes her another solid target for Hikaru. There's also Kana, who I think is probably the safest because she hasn't acquired the same level of stardom as the other two yet. She is close to Aqua, which does put her in some danger. Hikaru would want to specifically hurt Aqua if he went after Kana. Same with someone like Miyako. She was like another mother to Aqua and Ruby, and her death would serve as a warning not to come after him. Obviously, they'd still come for Hikaru after that. Lastly, there's also Ruby. In terms of potential, she's already rising up the ranks of stardom, and could even surpass her mother. Acting as Ai would also put Ruby in the spotlight, and Hikaru is already well aware of her. He even appeared next to Ruby when she went to go visit Ai's grave. The thing is, Ruby is his biological daughter, so it depends on how far he's willing to go, but considering he already orchestrated Ai's death, we know he probably doesn't care. In the end, I think Akane is the one most in danger, due to everything I already said, and how impactful it would be. She's already one of the most developed characters in the series, and it would completely break Aqua. The safer choice would probably be Frill though, but I think Akka has other plans for her. Anyways, I haven't seen anyone really talk about Yura much besides her death, and I thought this would be a great opportunity to discuss who might be the next victim after her too. If you want, let me know who y'all think could be Hikaru's next victim in the comments. And also I want to give a huge thank you to all of you for the channel reaching 2,000 subscribers. I'm truly grateful to everyone who has been watching these videos, and I hope we can keep on growing. But yeah, please consider subscribing if you aren't already, and a like would be cool too. I have some more Oshi No Ko content, you can check it over here too. But yeah, peace.